able to do these things as like something that you probably wouldn't get in a class. So when we do these workshops, it's like an overview of the system that we can then incorporate into our practice sessions over the next month, 2 months, however you want. You know, obviously we get it recorded and stuff like that so people can look back at it. It's more of like an overview of everything that I would do from those positions. And obviously it's nice to get everything together for like a gathering and stuff like that. So you see so many people on the mats. But yeah, let's dismiss the pleasantries and let's get straight on with it. John, so first off, we're looking at side control, we're looking at pinning. So we're going to look at a lot of different ways to pin somebody in side control. First off, we're going to focus on nullifying their escape opportunities, and then we're going to progress towards progressing our position more to either mount or the back, and then finally finishing that guy off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So look. First off, whenever we're in side control, I've got to think about where his hips and his shoulders are. So most of the time, I like to prop this shoulder up off the floor, just slightly, just so it makes it a little bit more difficult for him to turn his hips back into me. For John to do most of his escape options, he's going to want to be able to do this. See how he turns onto his side towards me? That's where he's going to have the mobility to get his legs back in front of my body. So what I need to be able to do, a lot of the time is, if I can, for example, if I can grab the collar and prop his shoulder up on my leg, a lot of the time here, without John putting the shoulder on the ground, it's going to be very difficult for John to get this knee underneath me to then retake like a guard or something like that. Okay, so all I want you to get used to doing, so we're going to spend a couple of minutes. We're just going to get used to holding our partners in a good side control. The person on the bottom, all I want them to try and do, I don't want them to frame, I don't want them to do any of the things you would naturally do if you know how to escape side control. I just want you to see if you can destabilize the top person and get the knee back in front of them without like so much moving your shoulders and whatnot, and then you can gradually increase the resistance as you do this. So with this, it's completely up to you and how you train. So like if you want to give each other 10,000 points of resistance and come out of this knackered and sweating and stuff like that, maybe not learning as much as you could have done, that's up to you. If you want to slow things right down and really work on the mechanics of stuff, and then add scaling resistance, so that way you get used to applying something with no resistance and then gradually add more resistance and then have a bit of dialogue with your partner goes, what would you have done here, John? And then you'd be like, I would have done this. I'm like, oh, thanks. You know what I mean? Well, that's completely up to you as well. That's kind of option B, what I would do, how I would use my training time, but I'm not going to tell you guys how to train, you know, you guys can do what you want. But I'm going to give you the content and I'm going to sort of let you play around with it. I'm going to go around, I'm going to try and get around to everybody, and then we're going to see how things are getting on from there. So look, I'm going to hold here on the back of his head. Sometimes I do like to cross face, but sometimes as well I just like to hold the back of the collar here. What I'm going to do with this arm is I'm just going to cup under his arm here. And I do want to be relatively live on my toes. I don't necessarily want to be flat here. Do you notice how his shoulder comes down? Whereas when I'm here, I can use my chest and roll onto his chest a little bit more here. Now John, without like framing or anything, how do you feel like you can move? It's hard. Yeah? Difficult because I'm keeping the shoulder elevated off the floor. Okay? Now look, one thing I want you to look to do as well is think about proportioning your chest position as well. If you feel like this shoulder's coming off the floor too much, move your chest over towards this shoulder. If you feel like this shoulder's coming off the floor too much, pull back with your chest. Use your chest to pin. That's what we want to be doing. So like for example, if I'm here with John, and John's like pulling this shoulder off the floor a bit, use the chest. If he's starting to go maybe the other way where he's lifting the other side, see how I can use my chest to move around and pin him. Rather than like squeezing him or anything like that, I just want you to roll your chest back and forth across his tits. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay? So find a partner, we're just going to spend 5 minutes, move around with each other, have a dialogue with each other and see how you get on. Ready? 1, 2. Try and turn her to a side slightly. So bring your knee sort of under that shoulder just a bit more. How's that feel for you? I feel better. Yeah. You've got this tweets. That chest just makes it a bit nuts. your shoulders are getting pinned on the floor, and there's a difference between one shoulder up and one shoulder down. That's going to make it turn more difficult for them to get their frames. It's cross-face versus chest pressure, isn't it? So like, there's two ways to hold side control. The way I'm seeing the way it is, it's like I can really focus on using my cross face there, but what I find when I use my cross face is my chest isn't as heavy in my partner's chest. Now that isn't a bad thing. Sometimes the cross face works really well for you. I'm not saying it doesn't. Sometimes I will go to a cross face as well, especially if I'm trying to make them panic a little bit. But be aware, when you're a side control, you don't need to pick one or the other. You can switch between the two. So if you want to be really nasty and cross-face somebody, you can do it for a couple of seconds and then go back to normal chest pressure. But the difference is with this is I'm not actually trying to like hug his head. I'm just trying to get like a grip behind the back of his head. And what I'm focusing on doing is I'm focused on expanding my whole chest on top of my partner's chest. Okay? When I do this, I feel more dynamic in the way I can move, and I feel like already harder. I'm not using as much energy as I do when I cross-face, and it's going to stop the frames a little. I feel lower on him. I feel like I've dropped a level. Okay, so now what we're going to need to do, we need to start avoiding frames. Yeah, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to clear frames. For those of you that don't know what frames, everyone should know what frames are. Everyone who doesn't know what frames are going to be the tool he uses to start creating space to escape. And sometimes it's going to be difficult to stop frames in the first place, but if they do get there, we need to figure out how to deal with them. So, the most common frame that people are going to get is the hip frame. We're going to look at both, so we get both frames in. So this is the framing position here. The reason why this is hard for me, there's a barrier now between his chest and my chest, it's his arms. So I'm not going to be able to put as much pressure on him as I want. Sometimes he can also frame off my arm, so I'm not going to be able to cross-face him either, which allows him to move his own body around me. Now, you've got to understand how he's going to move to understand what to do next to remove his frames. So like, I know John is going to start moving his hips this way and regain guard. Okay. Yeah. So what I tend to do to start with, first thing I look to do is I look to walk towards his hips. If I can walk towards his hips and turn his knees that way, it makes life a lot easier. So like when I'm here, and what I'll do is I'll walk this way here. He still has frames. I'm not out of the shit yet, but that particular guard escape there is going to be difficult for him to do. Once I get here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly turn, and I'm going to walk back, and I'm going to try and collect his arm. You see that? Now we're back to this. Now he's only got one frame in. See, he's got this, and this is still annoying. There. Yeah? Or, go back. There. Doesn't really matter where you put his arm, you just don't want it framing on your neck anymore. Let's go back. So look, we're here. It's not working. Let's say he tries to regain guard. Oh. Yeah. Towards his hips. Now, he's going to keep his elbow tight. He's not going to want me to go, so what I do is I slowly turn the angle of my body. See how he collected his arm? Now we're here. Now we're there. Yeah? And I get back to a good chest over chest position on my partner, or I could choose to attack straight away. It's up to you. Yeah? That is the first one we're going to play around with for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to give you another one to play around with, and then we're going to finally start looking to attack him after that. Has anyone got any questions like that?
Just when you put regain his arm, I'll just see the other side.
Yeah, you must, yeah. Come around. So look, you get these frames. So what I'm looking to do, I'm looking to walk towards his hips. Try to regain that. See that straight away?
Yeah.
Turn.
So you regained it with your hip.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It was just regaining that arm.
Yeah. Play around with it. Have your partner go. Give you a scaling resistance. So like, see if he can turn back into you to regain guard. See what else he might try and come up with to escape and be down there. See if he can stop you from retaking those frames. I want you, as much as I'm giving you content to work, there's nothing wrong with also coming up with your own ideas and building on what we're doing here today. Does that make sense? Okay, ready? 1, 2. That's you. Yeah. So even though it looks like an underhook, it's good for mine. It's not wide for mine to control. Whereas if you had this arm underneath his arm, that would be your underhook. Then you turn into it. It's still there. Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Here. I'm quite like over the top of him here. See that? Don't go where my weight is. Yeah.
That goes in the valley.
That's got certain size.
Like I said, I want to do one more thing on removing frames because I think removing frames is really important. I teach you a lot of the time about like getting your frames in because that's the way you're going to create space. But what we want to do is, I don't mind removing frames 4 or 5 times in a match simply because like I feel like it's very tiring for somebody to bridge and bump and squirm underneath me and get those frames in. So I don't mind if they get in and I'll remove them. They've got to bridge, bump and squirm again. And eventually their stamina bar is just going to go down, whittle all the way down to 0. And then when people are knackered and people are fucked, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to submit you now. That's kind of why I let you guys do like 3 or 5 rounds of rolling and jump in at the end. You know what I mean? the same sort of principle, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the other way we can remove frames is by going Kazakh. So if I'm here with John and he's got his frames in here, sometimes I'll turn my hips this way because now the angle has changed. I look to bring my knee underneath his shoulder here. Now, you can just use your legs. Most of the time though, you might need to pull up this shoulder and then use your knee to come underneath this shoulder again now. Then I'll take my grip and I'm back here, back to here. Okay? Now, you can also use Kazakh as an attacking position, not just a regaining and removing frames position. So it's up to you and what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you something else that I'm going to look to pull on today while we're doing this. We're going to look at some arm pinning. So I go to arm pinning all the time, mainly because like, John's really strong and I'm not. Yeah? So if I can take away one of his arms, and I can use both my arms and my weight, I'm going to have a better chance of submitting him. So the idea is I'm going to put his arm on the floor and I'm going to kneel on it. So like when we're here, I'll move to Kazakh. Now, what we talked about before, we do this and coming back. That's all well and good, but something else we can do, we can come underneath, trap the wrist, and I'll come over the top of it. Now when I'm here, I also go for that straight away. Right? So try, especially if I'm holding the wrist and his elbows got nowhere to go, sometimes I can bend it. Now, if I can't, I'm fine with trapping the arm. Yeah? Now I'm in a great position to look. He's got nothing to defend with this. Use my shoulder, straight away. I can attack an Americano straight off the back. Especially if these guys training. What I do with this is I hook the bicep, push my shoulder, grab the wrist here, backslide, grab the wrist, and I pin down to the mat. Grab my feet before, no foot press, elbow down to the mat. I want to get his shoulder in line with his wrist, and I'll just break it. Yeah? So one way to look at this Kazakh is a way to regain guard, as well as a way to trap his wrist. So we call that like a staple crucifix. There's also like a pinch crucifix as well, which I'll go through soon as well. But this staple crucifix is really strong in terms of I get rid of his arm, I can attack his neck, I can attack his arm. Show you one more thing from here I want to play around with. We're here, I'm here. Attack his arm, it's hiding his arm. Yeah? So I'll go through his neck, I'll start attacking here on his neck. Now what's the most common? He can't use his arm now to remove my grip. Yeah. Now I've got the wrist, so especially if he's hiding this arm, and I'm trying to reach on his neck, and he's trying to use his arm to stab me. Switch between the 2 attacks. So if I can, I'll go here, elbow down to the mat. He doesn't like that. Whereas if you can actually, I've got like a dual attack. I'm keeping this arm pinned. Does that make sense?
When you're doing the arm lock, you don't push the arm.
Nah.
Just
He needs his arm like this, and his arm bent. He needs his wrist in line with the shoulder, and then I can like break that. Whereas with his arm straight, I don't get the same tension. I'll be turning into more of an arm bar on there. Right there.
I always do that.
Gotta keep it. One thing I do, especially with Americanos and stuff, I pin the wrist to the mat first. I don't want him to straighten his arm. I need to keep his arm bent. So I'll keep my weight over the top of that and then I'll reach this. Sometimes I'll bring both arms together. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? Just have a play around with it and we'll add more onto this. Ready, 1, 2. Like I said, I want to do one more thing on removing frames because I think removing frames is really important. I teach you a lot of the time about like getting your frames in because that's the way you're going to create space. But what we want to do is, I don't mind removing frames 4 or 5 times in a match simply because like I feel like it's very tiring for somebody to bridge and bump and squirm underneath me and get those frames in. So I don't mind if they get in and I'll remove them. They've got to bridge, bump and squirm again. And eventually their stamina bar is just going to go down, whittle all the way down to 0. And then when people are knackered, people fuck, that's when I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to submit you now. That's kind of why I let you guys do like 3 or 5 rounds of rolling and jump in at the end. You know what I mean? The same sort of principle, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the other way we can remove frames is by going Kazakh-Tatami. So if I'm here with John and he's got his frames in here, sometimes I'll turn my hips this way because now the angle has changed. I look to bring my knee underneath his shoulder here. Now, you can just use your legs. Most of the time though, you might need to pull up this shoulder and then use your knee to come underneath this shoulder again now. Then I'll take my grip and I'm back here, back to here. Okay? Now, you can also use Kazakh-Tatami as an attacking position, not just a regaining and removing frames position. So it's up to you and what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you something else that I'm going to look to pull on today while we're doing this. We'll look at some arm pinning. So I go to arm pinning all the time, mainly because like, John's really strong and I'm not. Yeah? So if I can take away one of his arms, and I can use both my arms and my weight, I'm going to have a better chance of submitting him. So the idea is I'm going to put his arm on the floor and I'm going to kneel on it. So like when we're here, I'll move to Kazakh-Tatami. Now, what we talked about before, we can do this and coming back. That's all well and good, but something else we can do, we can come underneath, trap the wrist, and I'll come over the top of it. Now when I'm here, I also go for that straight away. No coat, right? So try, especially if I'm holding the wrist and his elbows got nowhere to go, sometimes I can bend it. Now, if I can't, I'm fine with trapping him up. Yeah? Now I'm in a great position to look. He's got nothing to defend with this. Use my shoulder, straight away. I can attack an Americano straight out the back. Especially if he's got his strength. What I do with this is I hook the bicep, push my shoulder, grab the wrist here, actually grab the wrist, and I pin down to the mat. Grab my feet before, no fingers first, elbow down to the mat. I want to get his shoulder in line with his wrist, and then I'll just break it. Yeah? So one way to look at this Kazakh-Tatami is a way to regain guard, as well as a way to trap his wrist. So we call that like a staple crucifix. There's also like a pinch crucifix as well, which I'll go through soon as well. But this staple crucifix is really strong in terms of I get rid of his arm, I can attack his neck, I can attack his arm. Show you one more thing from here I want to play around with. We're here, I'm here. Attack his arm, but it's hiding his arm. Yeah? So look, I'll go through his neck, I'll start attacking here on his neck. Now what's the most common? He can't use his arm now to remove my grip. Now I've got the wrist, so especially if he's hiding his arm, and I'm trying to reach on his neck, and he's trying to use his arm to stab me. Switch between the two attacks. So if I can, I'll go here, elbow down to the mat. He doesn't like that. Whereas if you can actually, I've got like a dual attack. I'm keeping this arm pinned. Does that make sense?
When you're doing the arm lock, you don't push the arm.
Nah.
You just
He needs an arm like this, and he needs his arm bent. He needs his wrist in line with his shoulder, and then I can like break that. Whereas with his arm straight, I don't get the same tension. I'll be turning into more of an arm bar. I want there, break that.
I always do that one.
Got to keep it. One thing I do, especially with Americanas and stuff, I pin the wrist to the mat first. I don't want him to straighten his arm. I need to keep his arm bent. So I'll keep my weight over the top of that, and then I'll reach this. Sometimes I'll bring both arms together. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? Just have a play around with it, and we'll add more onto this. Ready? 1, 2.
Regain it. Regain. Arm, then you want to move his arm across. Oh, okay.
Stop and get it. Oh, that's fine. As long as I've got one arm underneath.
Well, a lot of times I don't do it to submit, I just do it to get a knee-jerk reaction. Do it so I get the arm. Do it to get your arm. Yeah. You can't use that arm.
Chest pressure.
No. So you're going to so there you go, like that, and then you can choose the one. The only way to tension. It's not
Right, so can you show you from
Let me show you. Well, then you can go.
Do you know when you slide your hips through and let the arm switch your hips like that? You want it I think it was just more because you play your arm out, the first thing you want to do is go like this.
Yeah.
You take it from behind the head and then pop your head.
Right, yeah. That's good.
Stay tight.
Yeah. Right.
When you're putting your knee on the...
So what I'm doing a lot of the time is I'm going here, I'm tracking, then what I'll do, I'll go here, then I'll go here. Sometimes I'll attack that, if it's not there, what I'll do is I'll come here first, and I get this sort of pressure in. A lot of times you're not going to like that, so I might try and fiddle it around with you. Now look, if I get here and you don't like it, chances are you might use this arm. Sorry, you might use the arm to like break my grip or something. Yeah, now look, we're here. So it's like a dilemma type situation. That little thing as well, when I'm pulling the chin up, yeah, something I do a lot as well. So I grab the end of his wrist.
Mine sort of look like this, I was still sort of flat. You're like up here.
There's other stuff we can do as well. Other stuff we can do as well. I think I've told some of this before where I'm like here, and then like...
Yeah, I've seen, yeah, I know. I wouldn't be able to do anything.
And then I'm like, how much I grab this. Over here.
Now look, bring your knee over his head. I forgot all of that stuff. You did a whole class on him. No. You did 3, I think.
Yeah.
Use each of the legs. Go round the back of my head. Grab your leg, your thigh.
That's yeah, you were doing it.
Yeah, just push it down on your leg. Yeah. So I've gone for there. I want a bit more space to get there.
So let's go back over pinning this arm. Now, pinning this arm and taking it out of play. Like I said, we talked about mountain crucifix and there's 2 sort of variations of it. We did the pinch one. The pinch one is where I'm using my shin to cut off this arm, right? Then you've also got the, that's the staple one, sorry. The pinch one is where the leg's between my legs, and both have their advantages and both have like their cons as well. But there's no reason why you can't switch between the 2. So most of the time when I'm going here, I'm going from this sort of position, and I'm going from here. I'll always tend to go to this pinch one first. I'll get a nice good bite on this arm. I'll test the wrist and if it's worth attacking, and then I'll
transition to something else. Now, a lot of time, when I go here, I like to almost like straighten my back leg slightly. It allows me to push my big belly into it. Yeah? Now, we talked about this, right? And that's kind of so cool. One thing is that you can do as well, you can grab this side of his head, especially if he's hiding his arm, not giving him his arm. And I can look to come round his head this way and attack him there like this. This is really cool simply because there's not much. He doesn't have his danger flare signaling right now. I'm just grabbing his side. Do you feel in danger? No. He doesn't really feel that in danger. So when I go around, I get here and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to scrape your head back. And it goes on quite quick. So it's a horrible choke. And then finally, we also have, where I take my own gear out. Now when I start taking, this is all if he's hiding this arm. This is what you gotta imagine, like if the arm is at any point gonna come across his head, if I'm fucking about with this, tickling his nose or whatever, and he starts coming across with this arm, I always have this, I always be ready to catch this arm. You know what I mean? It's when he's hiding this arm. So a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I'm in danger here for this arm. Look. So I'm gonna bring this, if I take my own gear, I'll bring this over, and I'll swap to my other hand here. And then I'll go here now under his head. And I'll make as much slack as I can. Now from here, I need to switch my positioning. I'll go to the hip. I'll bring my head to this side of his body. And now I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna walk. My knee comes over the head. What I do is use my knee to push his head into the choke. There, he's gone. Okay? What you wanna do, you wanna make this straight as you can. And wrap it around and tighten it as well as you can. Your wrist being straight on the other side of his neck is what's going to choke him. So you've got this choking in and this choking in. And then the knee adds just that little bit of pressure. If he's really strong, you just use your knee and push him continually into that choke. You don't need to squeeze loads. You just need to hold your position and the choke will get in. Like it's one of these things, it's a slow burner. So when you do things in like a slower capacity, you can put more pressure on over time. And that's important, pressure over time, because people are always going to fight chokes. They're always going to like claw their own eyeballs to get out of chokes. So if you put a lot of pressure on and then let go after 4 or 5 seconds, like you're not going to choke them. Tough guys are going to grit that out. Whereas if you can put a gradual squeeze on and hold it for 20 seconds, they'll try and escape any way they can. They'll claw their own eyes out, stick a finger up their own bum to get out. You know what I mean? But eventually they're going to be like, "Fuck, you got me," and then that's how you get them. So you just got to be patient. As long as you know it's tight and you're putting the right pressure on, just be patient when you choke. Let's swap angles so people can see it from another direction. So look, against this stage, like, see what I talked about there, like his arm comes across and attacking this. Yeah? Now if the arm's hidden, now number one, look, I grab the collars here, I bring this across. That's a choke there. I can do just a general paper put it here as well. But this, so nice. Especially when you start it really deep in knuckles here. And that's where you get it there. Okay? Then, as well, like this is a flash where you can take your own gear out and you just tighten this here. See how like tight that is now? Like he ain't going now, I don't want him to go now, that's the thing. I'll hold it here and I'll make eye contact and I'll be like, yeah? And then look, I'll go to the hip. The hip stops him from regaining guard. I'll be like, no. And I'll be like, here. Now look, here. See how I'm on my toes? See how I can just hold this position and talk to you guys? Like the whole time, he's not enjoying this. Like, I'm having a blast and he's like, that he's done. Yeah, and that's how you need to be able to choke people, just like, do it as casually as you can, but keeping the pressure on. So he knows I can do that all day. You know what I mean? Whereas if he thinks, oh, if I'll just wait 3 seconds, he's going to gas his arms out. Whereas if he knows, like, I'm literally doing this all day, I'm like literally having a sandwich as I'm choking him, like, he's probably going to be more likely to tap. Does that make sense? Like, it's a psychology thing as well as it is like an actual mechanics thing. Like, if he feels like I could just put more on him, gradually, there's no way to get out, he's more likely to give up than he is like, oh, he's just going to gas his arms out. Yeah? Does anybody want to see any of that sort of stuff again? I will spend a bit longer on this because I want to play around with the 3 chokes, and I'm going to spend a little bit longer on this one. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Go.
Now, and then we'll have like a 5-ish, 10-minute-ish break. John, I need you. Now, this is where I want you to apply the concept of what we're doing. This is where I want to apply the concept of what we're doing into like a bit of application. I needed to give you some content first for the application to work. The reason what I want us to do now, I want us to play the dilemma situation. Now, I need you to understand how this works, and it's the order and the way you do things. Now, if I get to the position where I trap John's arm, and I am here, I am ready to start playing the game. Now, if at any point John manages to free this arm, I can't really do what I wanted to do. I need to go back and start again. So if at any point he frees his arm, go back and start again. It's fine. And you know, the great thing about this is, it doesn't mean, oh, God's sake, I've lost. We can just do it again. It doesn't really matter. He frees his arm. Oh, now go again. Like, the thing is, you can just do it as many times as you need to do it. It's not a position where you're putting yourself at risk. It's not like a massive thing in Bob. It's just you trapping his arm. So if you can get used to the idea is, I'll trap his arm, fuck about with him a little bit, he gets his arm free. I'll make it difficult though, so he uses a bit of energy, and then I'll go back and I'll do it again. The whole time I'm draining this stamina meter on him, I'm heavy on him, I'm threatening him, I'm saying nasty things to him at the same time. So like, psychologically, he's getting out, he's getting a bit bad, then I'm putting him straight back in the scenario. You know, and eventually like, when you start putting people in these bad situations, eventually they just accept it. You know, when bad things start happening to you, you just accept they're going to happen to you. You know, so that's where I can start really performing well and start attacking him really now. So look, I'll be here. Now, one thing I want you to always understand, if this arm is fucking about you in any way, like if I'm here and he fucks about with his arm, just take it. Like, that is there to be taken. Yeah? It doesn't really matter. Like, you can put this in a lot of different situations. You can even bring it around his head here and then start fucking about with him this way. Like that arm, if it becomes available, we always abandon what we're doing here and take that. Yeah? Because the arm's going to make it difficult for me to choke him. Sometimes I'll fuck about with his neck, I'll put my hand over his mouth and nose, and he'll get like this arm in front of him, and then I'll take that as well. Yeah? So look, what we need to do now is, like, sometimes as well, like, you can hold your own collar, and that keeps his arm out of play. If you really want to keep it out of play, keep it out of play. And then here, we're free to like explore attacks. Whether you want to go there, whether you want to go there, like, especially like fragile people, like people who are generally quite fragile around the neck. As soon as you touch their neck, they squirm and they tap, like Carson. and like, you can just test what you're doing. Like, you don't even mean to tap it. You just want to make them uncomfortable. And that's like how I live my life. I just try and make people uncomfortable. Yeah, so look, we're here. I get here. Now, look, this is where I want you to sort of start. And I want you to see how much threat and pressure you can put your partner under before he frees his arm and escapes. Ready, go. He's out. Go again. Out again. The thing is that every time you get that, he gets his arm out, I'm still in side control. I haven't been re-rolled. He hasn't put me in a guard. I'm still in a position where I can just trap it again. Like he gets his arm out. Now we're there again. Now we're here. Now, okay, now I'm here. Like, even if I get to here. Now, if he gets to here and his arm comes out, like, I will still probably progress. Well, I feel like I have a shot to submit him. But if you don't, just go back and trap his arm again. So now I'm going to put a timer on for 5 minutes. Every 3 goes or so, see what... You don't necessarily need to submit your partner. You just need to, like, put them under pressure. Like, you just need to make them squirm a little bit and use a bit of energy. You know, and we'll see what we can come up with. Maybe you'll come up with your own attacks from there. But if they free their arm and you're back in normal side control, try and reset and trap the wrist again. Does that make sense? Okay, ready? 1, 2. Let's go.
Yeah, look at that, motherfucker.
That's it, yeah. Yeah? That's yeah. And then the other one is just...
That's another fuck.
Make me go through every side. I don't want to do that now.
There is more that I could do on this, especially when it comes to like the pinch crucifix, where the arm goes between the legs and stuff like that. So there's more stuff involved with this that I just quickly want to finish up on and touch on before I go across attacking the far arm. So what I mean by this is, you know when I get here and I pinch this across his arm, now sometimes his arm comes out this way, it means I've lost it, but sometimes his arms goes the other way, where he goes here. Now look, we're in like a pinch crucifix here, you know, so like, you have more attacks. Like obviously I can attack wrists and stuff like that as well, but one of the main attacks that I'm going to do from here is I'm going to be stepping over the head, pulling through, and now look, I can attack this arm pretty much at will, depending on what I want to attack. Yeah? So look, say I'm in the pinch, in the staple here, he pulls his arm through, and now look, as soon as I feel it go between his legs, I want you to sort of scissor your legs backwards like this. This is super difficult for his arm to get out. You pull your arm out. I don't think it's the best place to attack the chokes. It might be good to attack this one, simply because a lot of this is about to settle. You know, when we're here. And then, because a lot of the chokes, when I'm starting to attack chokes, I do have to come onto my knees, and that allows him to get his arm out. And that's why. So a lot of the attacks I try and do from here, I do it with my hip on the ground. You know, so there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of different stuff you can do. What I want to focus on is pulling his head off the floor, and from here I'm going to step over his head, just to here. This hand pulls up to the back of his head now. I want you to straighten your leg through as much as you can, and then you're going to lock like a triangle here. Now, you can like tap somebody with a triangle from here, but don't be so obsessed with just the triangle, because there's other attacks here. You have a free arm. See how I pulled his weight off his back? It's literally that. Because I'm giving this Kimura exposure here, and while he's here as well, like it's super difficult for him to do a lot of stuff. Like I don't even need to hold on to the trunk. Once I get this, I can just go to a normal Kimura position and break. Like I don't need to hold on to it. I use it as a tool maybe to lift his back off the floor to attack his arm. That's what we need to think about, not just attacks and submissions. And if it doesn't work, it's like, fuck's sake, I haven't got a submission. Use it as a tool to get whatever else you want. Like I said, I'll go here and I'll be like, hey, oh no, it's not tight enough, I'll let go again. No, it's fine. Look, I'll go here. It's not very tight, but look. His back's off the floor, I've got my Kimura. There's that. The other thing that can happen as well is the arm goes straight underneath both your legs. So like, I'll be here, and his arm goes straight underneath both his legs. This is where you've just got to be a bit careful. What I always try and do is I immediately try and put my hand on the floor here. The reason why, John's got a particular escape he's going to try and work. You know which escape I'm on about? Go for it. See that? Yeah? Whereas, if I'm here, go for it. See how I can push back into him with this grip? Okay? If you're not that confident with that, what I would focus on doing is switching and switching here. Because now he's not going to get out. Now what I would focus on doing here is coming underneath this arm and grabbing this. under his back. So you've got this grip here. And now this is where you're going to get some extra tasty paper cut chokes. No, here we go. So look, when I'm here, I'll loosen it. This is the most uberest, disgusting paper cut choke in the world. It's almost like I'm going to sprawl backwards like this. My wrist is straight. I open the elbow. See how I've barely moved? That's the thing. I want to spread him like that. Yeah. Now, if he's keeping his chin down, I want to get this. Get the grip. Go under his nose. I think find that. All you got to do is find that space under his chin. It is super difficult. Really keep your chin down, you know. It's really difficult for him to stop. My weight's not on John anymore because there's not a lot he can do. Like, can you move your body much? He's gone. Yeah? That's if the arm comes all the way through. And that doesn't even have to be off the crucifix. That could be just like when he frames. And he gets that underhook through here. Remember, hand comes in because he's going to try and escape. Now look, I might come here now and grab this. And I'll turn onto my side here. So I'll grab the grip first. I don't try and come across his neck. Grab the grip first. Why? Now I'm here. Fine. Yeah? So, like, especially when you go for that choke, think about, like, grabbing the grip on the side of his head. Don't worry if it's under his chin. Then you start feeding your hand up. If you want to be extra dickish, if I'm here and he's got his chin down, I can use my knee and spread him with my knee and then come into the choke. But I think that's just a bit unnecessary. Yeah? When you can just do it with your wrist. But if you want to do it, like, it's there for you. As long as you're not driving your knee into their teeth and just like absolutely smashing them with it, you'll be fine. Okay? I know I've given you a couple things to work with there, but you've got the triangle Kimura, where the arm is between the legs here. I can step over the top and look to attack this arm. Or you've got the bread cutter, the paper cutter, when his arm is all the way in, and we've got this way. Yeah? I wanted to wrap up. This series is all about trapping his near side arm. That's what I want you to imagine. This is the near side arm we're taking out of play. The next bit we're going to do after this is going to be focused on the far side arm. Does that make sense? Okay, ready? 1, 2. Go. Sit on your hip. Pinch the leg between your legs. Perfect, good. That's so much better. From here to here. So go around the back of his head now. Step over his head. Now this arm comes to the other side of his head now. Now bring the knee to the floor. Then lock a triangle. So bring this foot on top of the other one. Now even if it's there, look, you've got an arm. Now you can pull yourself back. I would go backwards slightly so his back is off the floor. So use the arm, pull his arm back. Is that the leg pressure?
Yeah, the leg.
Yeah.
It's a fat legs and a fat neck, mate.
So if I get to here, and I'll get here. So I kind of pull back. Right, I don't even care if he gets on top of me. On top of me. Go on, you can. Yeah, you can. Go on. You can do it. Because look, this arm, he's fucked. That arm.
That one now gets put in my neck.
Sorry.
Don't need that.
You can't get
Good, mate. That's hard. That wrist into the mat. Extend it into the flag.
Or if.
It's just not around top.
Like if it's not fully fried.
Or attack the brace. If you just get the grip and you keep his chin tight, focus on just using your forearm to wedge his head up. Okay, so now, lift over there. That's it, keep your chin tight. Get the grip this side of his head. Okay. No, not in one go, multiple goes, so play him out. Yeah. You want to go flatter as well? So, I felt like my grip was really so first off, I'm quite low down on John as I do this. See, I'm not like all the way up here. Now look, I get this. Now look. Now
Oh, the flare, the elbow flare.
Before we move on to attacking the far arm, has anyone got any questions about anything we've done so far with the pinning the wrist, stapling the arm and whatnot? All I want you to remember is it's not so much about the techniques that you're doing, it's about how you apply them in practice. So remember, if the low hanging fruit is there and their far arm is there, always take the far arm because it's going to fuck about with your chokes. If they're hiding the arm, attack the neck. If they bring the arm into play to stop your neck being attacked, attack the arm. If they free that arm, now they've got two arms free, let's just reset again. The thing is about this, when you're in side control and you're going for these attack style pins, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work along the way, because when you reset, you're in side control still. You're winning the fight, you're winning the competition, like you're just putting the person under threat. Does that make sense? As long as you're not doing anything where you're going to get flipped over, or the guy's going to regain guard, we're happy. That's all you got to remember. You got to be happy. Don't get discouraged if things aren't working, because like maybe you just need to wait a bit longer. Maybe you just need to drain their energy a little bit longer, and then it's going to work a little bit more. Maybe they're really super good at defending certain things, but if they're defending, they're not looking at escaping. Yeah? Where's John gone again? John. So look, let's look at the far arm now. So I will do this when we're in our normal, nice side control like this. So what I'm going to look to do from this position is I'm going to look to get this lapel out. Okay? Now look at John's arm. If John isn't doing anything, I go straight for an attack. I'm going to show you in a second. But let's imagine John's framing with this arm. So this is another way we can use to beat the frame when we come over the top and we pin this like this. Yeah, he's like in a sling. Yeah. Now, we've taken this arm sort of out of play, which allows us to do a lot of different things. Now, this is really boring, but at the same time, the beauty is in the simplicity of it. Let's talk about going to mount, right? You might think, oh, you've trapped his arm, aren't you going to attack him with an armbar or a triangle or something like that? Well, I'll just go mount. Because look, the danger with going to mount sometimes is the fact he's going to push the leg in between my legs and we end up in half guard, right? That's what happens to a lot of people a lot of the time. But most of the time I teach you guys to come here and to come up from mount this way, so we avoid the line and stuff like that. That can be hard sometimes against strong guys who are always going to be pushing down in your arms, and it can be very difficult, especially when the frame's in play as well. So what we need to focus on doing now, look, I'm here, I trap this arm, and I pull this up, and I'll go to my half knee on belly here. Now I'm in my half knee on belly, I'm sort of connected to John. This arm is out of play. I've got to think about where I want to go next. Over here. What normally happens when you push somebody? They go back. Yeah? So as I'm pushing John's hips and he comes back into me, just there. Now we're in mount. You might still have the arm trapped. If the arm is trapped and the elbow's up, let's go straight into this sort of stuff. Now we can start attacking the shoulder line and stuff like that. You don't need to abandon it. You can use it to progress a better position. So look, we're here. And look this way. Yeah? He's pushing back into me. Push. There. Now we're back into mount. Now you're probably asking, what if he doesn't push back into you? What if he doesn't? Show you something. This is a 2-on-1 attack. If he's just happy, so I'll go here, and he's just happy to be this. Oh look! Attack that. Yeah? See how I can go straight for this? Because he hasn't pushed back into me. So as I said, it's all in simplicity. Yeah? He's going to give me one of two reactions. So look, I've trapped this arm, got it nice and tight. Pull this up to here. I push this. Now I see what sort of reaction my partner gives me. That's the important thing. I might wait here for a second. If I feel like he's not going to push back, look, my leg comes over the top. And I get my heel to here.
Now we're in like shotgun armbar territory. So I personally like to stay on top because I don't really like being on my back. But you can fall back. What I would do if I'm falling back is I would pick this up and fall back this way. See this? Now, with that. Yeah? It's called a shotgun armbar because the wrist is underneath my armpit. And then with that. This can just stay here. This is a really strong finishing position. Like, what would you do to... Can't move his hips away from me, you can't hitchhike. Like, there's no way he's grabbing his wrist. It's under my armpit. Yeah, as opposed to here. Yeah, it's here. Just put the pressure there. It's hard for him to sit up as well. This one's over his head as well. And then he's there, he's gone. Okay, so we've got two things. But what I want you to imagine is, some of you are going to watch this and think, oh, I'm just going to go for that armbar all the time. It's circumstantial. It's if he doesn't do anything. Most people do. So that's why I'd ask you to go to mount. If he doesn't, if he just stays there, you can attack this. So look, we're here. That's number one. Get that nice and tight. And even turn him onto his side a little bit. It's great. Number two, half knee on belly. Look, really pushing his hips away. Yeah, the more he pushes, the harder it's going to be for him to get me into half guard. Because I'm stopping that momentum, and then when they go, he's going all the way that way. I'm straight into my mount. Whereas if he stays, look, my leg, see how it comes over the top? You don't have to be hypermobile. It just comes over the top. Now we're here. Like I said, if you want to fall back, I would collect his legs first. Come here. Then we're attacking the armbar. You can stand on top and do it as well. It doesn't really matter. Yeah? Does that make sense? Has anyone got any questions? If you want, start. Get to the position. I mean, as you do it, but get to this position where you're like this. And just see if your partner can get his arm out. Because there's other things we're going to do as well when he gets his arm out. So think about how tight this is. And then think about this sort of stuff. If he stays there, look, that's so easy to do. See how the legs come across really easy. You know what I mean? And there's lots of things you can do from there. If he comes back, go to the mount. Okay, we happy? Ready, 1, 2? Go. Yeah.
I've abandoned, I've fucked up. That was my mistake.
Can I get my arm? We'll do half knee on belly. Push your hips down to the ground. Push your hips down. That's it. Now come over his arm. Straighten your leg over his arm. Yes. Good. You fall. Now what I do is I keep that up, yeah? I grab his far leg, pull his far leg with me. That's his near side leg, far side leg. Pull it backwards with you. Lean over it. Yeah, keep going. Lean all the way back. Pull back. That's it, yeah. All the way back to you on the floor. That's it. Now look, you got the arm there. Yeah. That's so new. That is I don't use. Bring your knee up down higher. So you got the arm a bit more isolated. Okay. Like step up on your foot. That's it, yeah. Get the arms up, yeah. Lovely. And what I would do is I'll come round to the back outside your leg and then pull it backwards and lean on it and over the top. That's it, yeah. Lean. Then keep this leg. You want this leg to keep it down. And then let's see how this knee's straight. Bring it up, and you can tap it shotgun arm back and loose. So bring it, let go of this slightly, and you the back of your quad, back of your hamstring, sorry. So you go this, back of your hamstring, this is me. Now lean back slowly, bring your hips in, just be careful.
Hands and you can do it.
And then when you feel it dizzy, say tap.
What he said about it, you still have that. And then you
Don't react.
So
So the only thing I would worry about there is having your foot on your back, kind of what your foot yeah. That's better. That's on now. Yeah. The only thing I think with not having this over, mate, is that I can still turn.
Right, coming in, guys. So what I want to explain is, like, some of you probably see me roll and play side control and think, he doesn't do any of this. I do and I don't, right? Like, my probably main high percentage submission I catch from side control is my Americana. But a lot of that comes from fucking about with them. Like, doing stuff that puts them under pressure, that makes me expose that arm. And it's not just because I'm really good at Americanas, it's because what a majority of people give me. And that's the thing, when you're attacking a position, we always try and go for the lowest hanging fruit. So if somebody's giving you an arm, and you really want to choke them, just take the arm. Like, there's no harm in taking the arm. And then eventually when they're like, well, I'm not going to let you get the arm, now I'll choke you, now I'll do stuff like this. This is just a way that we can, especially we talk about isolating. When we're isolating, we're taking his arm away so he can't use it. Now that might be because when this arm comes in play, I can't choke him. He might be too strong to Americana. Yeah, so I might just trap the arm instead and focus on progressing my position also. Especially against bigger, stronger guys, I'll probably will have a better chance of submitting him in mount or on the back. So I'll look to progress into those different ways. Obviously we look to get into mount now, but then there's other ways to do things. So that's if I keep that wrist pinned. Now, they can get the wrist out in multiple ways. Like I said, like if I'm here, and let's say if John pulls his arm out this way, I have this. Now the great thing about this is I have this. It's one of the worst submissions in the world. It's like a super Ezekiel. And the great thing about this is, right, if you get this out and he's hiding his arm, like, and he's not letting me trap it, I'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna bring it up here. Look, I've just got to pass it here. And then this arm comes here, and my fist comes to the other side of his neck, like a hammer fist. I'll pull this, and I push the fist into his neck. And he's gone. It's disgusting, honestly, it is disgusting. I don't like it with a hand. You can, but like, I don't know, my hands are like fragile, so I don't like it. I like to make a hammer fist. That's where I've found I've had the best success with it. You can play about with what you want though. If you've got nice, slender, strong hands, karate chop hands, and you want to do a karate chop, do it. I like hammer fist. Right, so look, that's that. That could be if he pulled his arm out. That could be if he's hiding his arm in the first place and I'm just fucking about with this. Yeah, so if you're wondering, like, oh, I need to trap his wrist, he's hiding his arm like this. Like, and if you pass to here, like, and he's thinking, oh, you could even like push his hips over the top of his arm now. And now there's no chance of him getting out and you go straight there. It's horrible. Sometimes as well, like I'll pull the hammer fist down slightly so my knuckles like pull across his Adam's apple like that. And it's just disgusting. Right? The next thing that happens is they pull their arm the other way, so you tend to get like a stronger uber underhook. So like I'll be here and he will strain his arm to the ceiling and we'll get this arm like under here now. Now straight away, I always tend to go my half knee on belly. So I have my fake underhook now. And there's different ways that we can do things. Now look, I'll give you two ones. I'll give you like a cross collar variation. And then what they're gonna do when they start defending the cross collar, we can go Bravo or Das. Some of you guys like Das's. I'll show you how you can start setting up your Das's. So look, first off, there needs to be a switch over. See how my left hand is by the back of his head? Swap. And it's like a curl there. Right? As soon as I start curling, I'll come into a full knee on belly here. Now look, going under his neck can be finicky. He has a big beard, right? So like, I go here. What I'll do is I'll use my elbow and I'll hold this way. And I'll grab a bit of fabric and grab here, fabric, whatever I want. Now when I'm here, I look at him and I'll bring his forehead to my chest, elbow down like this, and that brings on a lot of pressure to choke him, number one. If I get this grip though, and however he's fucking about with this arm, you can pull this all the way across. You can go over the top and go Bravo as well. Or if you don't like the Bravo, you can just let go and go Das. Like, it's up to you and what you do. I think in the gi, I'd go Bravo. Like, obviously with no gi and go Das. Don't really catch a lot of Das's in the gi. I think it's a bit finicky. So look. It's gone underneath his arm. So look, I'm now half knee on belly first, and I stay half knee on belly. I think it's much more stable to switch my grip. I go here, Now I'll go full knee on belly. And I'm using my elbow into his chest like this, keeps his head off the mat. And come over the top, I can grab, and I'll come here. Not nice for him. See, I'm bringing my elbows to my chest. That's how I get that on. If he doesn't let me engage this grip, I can pull this elbow across on my chest directly on his tricep. This arm goes over the top, grab, and I can like put weight into him, sprawl, and lift this up to get the Bravo. So those are the two main attacks from that main position. There's no reason why you can't transition from mount as well, as long as you're monitoring this arm. So don't be afraid to go to mount. Okay? Have a play with the concepts. I'll come around as well. Like I said, scale the resistance however you want. Obviously, for some of you, this might be new content. So if it's new content, have a play with the concept first before you add resistance. I think that's important. Otherwise, we never get to play around and try new techniques because we're so focused on like what's working for us currently in that moment. And because we've never tried it, it's never going to work. We need to apply it with minimal resistance first and then start scaling it from there. That's how you're gonna troubleshoot it a little bit, and then maybe ask for a bit of dialogue from your partner. Was that tight? Do you feel like you tapping just because you like me, or you tapping because it's on? What would you have done there? Oh, okay, you'll come up with your own things then, and that's what's important with jiu-jitsu. You get your own little flavour. You know what I mean? Like you get like your knick-knack spicy ribs over there, and like it's important that what works for me might not work for you guys because I have a different body type. You know what I mean? I think about things just a bit differently. I have a different game. So because I do things this way, doesn't mean you have to, but the concept of it's going to stay the same. Okay, happy? Ready? 1, 2. Go. The next few months to play out.
It's okay, that's fine. Start putting up.
Oh yeah, still, belly, innit?
Leg grip, and then he starts fucking about with your arm with his other arm. And what you do is you just grab his sleeve with your left arm, pull it across your body, then bring your chest on top of it, and bring your left arm over the top of his body here, and small your legs back a little bit, pull everything together. That's it.
Oh, get this elbow down.
Okay, so you're there. And then on this is it.
So, to be fair, today, like, as much as it is a comprehensive side control system, I've purposely left out some of the stuff that people probably know a lot of, like the spinning arm bars, the Americanas, the Kimuras and stuff like that, because I feel like that sort of stuff we've gone over a lot already. I'd rather introduce new content with you, as opposed to going over content we've gone over a lot already. Yeah, because I want to give you that value. But what I am going to look to do, I'm going to look to link it to some of the stuff I know you've done already, but I just won't touch too much on it, because I know we've done a lot of it. And that's mainly like attacking Kimuras, attacking the spinning arm bars and stuff. I'm going to show you how it links. There's one more thing I want to do from this grip, and that's attacking the back, so we create back exposure. With the extra grips as well, it might look like I'm giving a lot of space, but imagine I've got him on like a rein. When I've got this grip around his back, I've got like a rein on him. If he gets too far away, I go, whoa, pull back, you know what I mean? So like this, when I get this under here, and I've swapped the grip across, and we're here as well, like, I've got a good rein here. So look, what I'm gonna look to do is, I'm gonna look to pull this sleeve this way. Sometimes they'll pull themselves this way anyway. And look, see, I'll pull the back off the floor. Now the back is off the floor, I can choose to slide my knee underneath their back, swing the leg across, and straight away I'm attacking the back already. The idea is you create back exposure by using the grip and allowing that to pull through. And a lot of times they don't realise they're giving you that back exposure. It gives you the chance to attack the back. So look, we're here, we're here. So look, I might be here, he's struggling to push me away, so he might turn the other way, like this. I'll pull this way. I can see his back. That tends to be a rule a lot of the time. If I wanted to make it even more secure, like if I don't want to be so fast, I'll swap my grip. Now I'm here, and I'm sat behind him. You know what I mean? And then I'm going into the back stuff that I've done a lot of. I know I do a lot of back stuff, but we're there now, okay? So I'll show you that little handoff as well, because I feel like if you want to feel more secure with it, that's the way to go. Or you can just slide your knee under the back and take the back. So you're getting underneath their body and your chest already be on the back. All you gotta do then is set your grips and stay tight to them, and you've got the back. So look, I'm here, we're here. I'm up. See how I'm pulling it? See how that creates pressure by pulling up? And all I gotta do is pull this way. This. And he's already behind his back now. That comes over the top. I'm there. I'm ready to go. Shoulder. Attack this way. Or you can go the other way. Whatever you want, I don't really care. You've got behind them. You've got your chest on their back. You can set your grips and you're ready to go. It's actually a lot easier than what you think it is. This grip really helps because it really pulls. The grip goes behind the back of their shoulders, which allows you to pull them off the floor a little bit more, as opposed to just this. You've got this. Yeah, so we're here. Like I said, we're here. I pull them up. I might come through this way. Hand goes to the mat. My knees come beyond the back of the head. I feel them pulling this way. Look, I bring my leg all the way across and then pull all the way over to this side as well. So I get that exposure as well as I can. If it doesn't work, go back to side control. Do the whole sequence all over again. That's the whole point of this. Like, the point is that you are staying in control, attacking the sequence, and if it doesn't work, you go back to where you started and you do it again. Because I'm not trying to do stuff that's going to put you in a lot of risk. This might look like there's a lot of space, but I really don't think there's that much risk in it. So if I'm here with John, see what I mean? Like, I'm here. Like, I don't really feel like John's going to get on top of me here. So, do you like you can get on top of me? Yeah, so there's not that much you can do. Okay, so this is the last bit I want to do on this grip, and then I'll show you how we can link everything that we've done today into attacking our normal Kimuras, our Americanas, our spinning arm bars, stuff like that, how it links to the stuff we already know. Does that make sense? Okay, ready, 1, 2. The last bit of this. Now, something like pull it across. Yeah. Now what I do is pull it back off the floor a little bit. Now put your left hand on the floor here. Now slide your knee underneath. There you go, the back legs like that. You can swing the hook, yeah? 100%. A bit too far away, but if you're far away, you can also attack arms. Because you're quite hard on the body. I said to you, how do we link this to what we already know? Now, most of us are probably very familiar with the Kimura position. I know I do that with you guys a lot. But look, so let's come this way a bit, John. Coming in so you can see. So let's talk about where his arm is here. When his arm is here, this is Kimura territory, always. Spinning armbar territory, Kimura territory. It's only when his arm is like framing on me, or like this side of his head, I don't attack that sort of stuff. It's always like what I've been showing you. Because this one is like, he knows I'm going to go for the Kimuras and stuff. So I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to get here. I'm going to get here. Here, I've got this arm like this. We talked about this and whatnot. But I can pull this off the floor. Now we're there. We've done that before a lot. Now we're here. Yeah? So there's a lot of different options you can do. But he's hiding his arm. I've turned. I've pinned his wrist down to the floor. He's hiding his arm. What I'll probably do is I'll windshield on my feet. Here. Now look, this pulls his back off the floor. Now I have back exposure. I step over the head. I'm up, switching the grip through. Might break the grip, and then we're there. We've done a lot of training from this position, so a lot of you probably know like a lot of the options, pulling this behind his back, switching for arm bars, attacking on burrata platters and stuff like that. But there's a lot that you can do from here. But that's how I would link what we've done already into that. So when he's hiding the arm, okay? What I want you to do now, I want to focus on that grip. I want you to start in a normal side control, grip out, and I want you to start like this, yeah? Now, I want you to see how you can threaten your partner, John. Not just John, but anybody. But I don't want him to look to escape. I just want him to be a little awkward for me and stop me from attacking him. For me, if he escapes, it usually means I've probably lost control somewhere in terms of like, I've really lost control, that I've allowed myself to end up in a worse off position. But we're gonna be here, okay, ready, go. Yeah, I didn't share that one, but that's a baseball joke. But that's what I want you to. I don't want him to escape. I want him to be a bit awkward, and I want you to figure out how you can put him in danger and do lots of stuff. I'll come on a few things then. I trapped his wrist. I don't know if you saw. I trapped his arm, and then continue to attack his neck. So we're going to take in turns, 1 for 1. This is the last bit of the actual workshop. I'm going to put 10 minutes on, and I want you to try and incorporate everything that you've learned today in terms of content. Start with the lapel out, and I want you to see how you can attack your partner, whether you're attacking his arm or neck, or progressing your position to mount on the back. I want you to see how you're going to do that. Whereas he's not looking to escape, because I don't want there to be any consequence for the guy on top. I want your guy on top to have the freedom to move between the stuff that we've been doing. Or maybe use the stuff that we've done today to go into your favourites that you normally do. I don't mind. But I want you to try and utilise the concept. He's just going to give me awkward reactions from the bottom. He's going to like defend, hide his arms, tuck his chin, you know what I mean, free himself from danger, but he's not going to try and regain guard. He's not going to try and get on top of me. Does that make sense? Okay, ready, 1, 2? 10 minutes. This has been really good to do this again today. Like, it's been nice to have so many people on the mat. Like, obviously some people I don't get to see that much anymore because damn kids and everything. I have to be a dad sometimes. So like, I know obviously Chris and Gareth, they wish they could be here today, but they can't make it today. John's here as well. Especially we coach as a team and we view things as a team. So whenever I grade somebody, I always ask what they think or who they think should be coming up to grade and whatnot, because I value their opinions, and like I said, our standard is our standard. We have a standard as a team that we look to hit, and that's really important. Standard is important as well as other elements. Take a seat first. Everyone take a seat. All that naughty noise. Like, Dan, sit down. So, what I've done today, just for today, guys, I had these done today. Like, I had these key patches done. So everybody who come here today, you can have one. Like, I have a name. You don't have to put them on your geese. It's completely up to you if you do. You might just have it and pull it home and pull it somewhere that you'd like to see it, you know what I mean? These are gi patches, if you'd like I know some people have asked before about what we represent in the club, especially when it comes to the gi side of things, and we haven't had that, so I had these especially made, so at the ends, if you come to the desk, take one of these, you can put it on your gi if you want. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at sewing, so I'm not going to sew it on for you, but, you know, you can do that yourself, so I've got these. In terms of stripes and whatnot, like, held a lot of like people back. I've given some people I feel like they really needed it, and then a lot of people as well. We've been watching a lot, and we like to wait till a lot of like these sort of events where everybody's together, so we can all celebrate that together when people get their stripes and whatnot. The biggest thing that I look for when people grade is number 1. There's like a few things. There's quite a few things that are really important. Number 1, are you improving? Are you genuinely improving? Now, if you come in and if you're 6'12", I don't know if that's a real height, and you are 200 kilo and you're tapping every single person in the room, are you tapping everybody in the room because you are really good at jiu-jitsu, or is it because you're 6'12"? You know what I mean? Think about those things into play. Are you experimenting and trying and learning new things? Are you doing the same things over and over and over again? Or are you actually trying to develop a jiu-jitsu game and explore new themes and new elements and putting yourself in a position where you could lose? Yeah, that's really important as well. Consistency. Are you showing up regularly? Now, consistency looks different for every single person. Now, certain people, I would probably expect them to be here every other day. Because you know what? They haven't got anything there to do. You know what I mean? Some people I do, and then other people, like, it could be a struggle for them to come once a week or twice a week. And I look at that as well. Everyone's at a very different point with what they can commit. And I do appreciate it when people do commit as much as they can. And it's going to look different for every single person. The way I grade everybody is different as well, because it's about your potential as a person. Like, if somebody I feel like could give me more and I could get more out of, they could be very more skilled than somebody else, but because their potential is bigger, I will wait longer for them. Whereas if somebody comes in and, you know what, like, we got a lot of people that are coming in who might be a lot older, might have never done martial arts before, might have, like, had injuries and problems and stuff like that, and that's fine as well. I look at you guys differently as well. I look at everyone's personal jiu-jitsu journey very differently. Yeah, so like we've got some like stripes with them today. The way we're going to do it is I'm going to call you out. You're going to come up. We'll give everyone a round of applause when they come up. I'll give you a strike, shake my hand, shake John's hand, and then you go back in your line where you would be when you get a strike. Okay? Right. So the first one is Michael. Give him a round of applause. Martin?
Yes.
I've seen that before, I don't know, I want to give you one. That is a fucking
Thank you so much. Thank you
That's
so
a
much.
Bulgarian. Jack?
You haven't been in this very long, mate. I can tell you've obviously been doing some grappling before.
Previously, yeah.
Yes.
Follow me for the one strikes, Katie.
I'm going to give you. Hold that first.
So moving up to people who are getting their second strike now. Obviously, first, second, third, and fourth. You get 4 strikes in a row. So the first strike is basically saying, are you consistent? Are you finally getting what Jiu-Jitsu is? So that's what you get your first strike. Number 2 is, are you now improving? Are you escaping more? Are you understanding a little bit more on the processes? So first one, 2 is Dave Mole. Give him a applause. Mark Gill.
It's been hard, man. We'll get you on your chair. Cheers, man. That'll be good.
Now, I don't get to see this person after their second strike, but John's been seeing this person on more than I have, and this was like one of his decisions. That's why I let him do this one.
So we've got Dylan.
The next 3 are the third strikes. Now, when you start getting your third and your fourth stripes, like that's where you're edging closer towards blue belt than you are white belt. Now, when you get towards blue belt, you should be fairly competent. You know what I mean? Like you should know what to do from most positions. You should have a relatively good level of resilience and whatnot. Now, I know these next 3 people are going to get their 3 stripes. It's probably going to be more Gareth and Chris that would have awarded them, but they can't make it today, so we're going to do it for them. But first one is Vicky. Give her a round of applause.
Well done, Becky.
Dan Gibson. Finally, Ethan Bennett. Okay, and then we're coming up to 4 stripes now. Now this, realistically, if you're getting your 4th stripe, you're on the verge of getting your blue belt. You know what I mean? There isn't much more to go from 4 stripes and blue belt. We probably just want to see a little bit more. Want to see you train a little bit more, helping the new people a little bit more as well as progressing yourself. So first one is John Lee's. Give him a round of applause. Alex White. Blue belts by the end of the year, I think. That just means the standard of the room is getting better. And those are, well done. And then, like, we've got some of our colour grades now who've been training with us a lot. And there's one person I feel like has been putting some extra effort in, like really looking to change the way he does jiu-jitsu, and I see it when he trains. And he takes the most shit from me, as probably most of you know. And it's Carson, give him a round of applause. Now, if, like I said, everyone is different in terms of where they are with their journey. Now, some of you had stripes recently. Now, most of the time, depending on how often someone's training, you're looking at 6 months with each stripe. Now, the more you train does affect that. The more you think affects that. The more you put a logical approach to your training, you genuinely try to get better. Like, that's where you're going to be getting that element of, like, the stripes don't matter. As much as they do, they don't. The stripes are a recognition of where you are. Like, if you feel like you're good, then you're good, don't worry. But, like, when we see that in ourselves as coaches, that's when we reward that recognition. You know what I mean? Like, you could be somebody that smashes every high grade. That's fine. You know what I mean? But we think we could get more out of you. So that's not like a diss on you. That's a compliment. That's us thinking, you know what, we could get more out of you. We want to see that, and we want to try and aim to get that out of you before we get into that next grade. Because we take, like, the grades here, and I personally take a lot of pride in giving each one their grade. And every single person that gets a stripe here or a belt here, you have well deserved it. You have well deserved it completely. You know what I mean? The way we train, the way our approaches and our values are as a gym, like, I put skill development and standard above a lot of other things. You know what I mean? I want to see you guys get better at jiu-jitsu. And if you're not getting better at jiu-jitsu, then unfortunately you don't get that. But if you're not getting better at jiu-jitsu and you're showing up regularly, we're failing as coaches. You know what I mean? So we want to get that out of you. So as much as, like, we strive you and we grade you, that's also like an achievement for us, because we know, like, what we're doing for you guys is working. You know, we've got loads of competitions and stuff coming up. People do well in the competitions. Like, we get compliments all the time when people are rolling. Like, you get good compliments, and that's good. That's a good standard of the gym. And as you guys get better, the standard of the gym will increase. Now, when new people come through the door, they should be getting their grades quicker, simply because everybody here who stays becomes higher, which means the level of the gym is higher. So when people get exposed to that, they can only get better quicker. Because the standard's higher, we help out better, or we become a better machine, if that makes sense. The machine's important because we want people to stay and enjoy themselves, but we also want them to get good. You know what I mean? It's running that line, okay? But yeah, stand up, guys. That was good work. What we're going to do, we're going to do our bow out as normal. We're going to get through the cage and get a nice little kick, and then we'll maybe go from there. But well done, guys. Give yourself a round of applause.
Well, I've got 2 belts, though.
That's something both. Don't raise your spell. Right, do the count to 93. Okay, move back a bit. White knees, go on white knees. Dave, go on the outside of the jump. Dan, carry on white knees. And then, do you want to go on that side? How's that look? Do you want to get one on my phone as well?
Yeah.
Let me just, I don't know, how's that getting there as well?
Ready? You lift up a little bit. Good. In fact, will you bounce on the end? Stop racing. Sorry. There we go. Amazing.